And welcome to the third session of our Moodle and TML webinar series. This webinar is about boosting member engagement with interactive activities. So we're in our third session now, and we have two more that are scheduled about assessment and quizzes after today. And then starting in August, we will be able to host sessions that are based off of the questions that you all have asked for. So if there are any advanced topics or specialized topics that you would like us to cover, please make sure you answer that question at the end of the webinar so we can start planning for you more in depth.
As with all webinar recordings, this webinar will be available on the IUE NTF Training Supports YouTube channel. To locate the YouTube channel, click any support button on your Moodle site to access the support page, then click YouTube videos link at the top. While we're on the support site, you can also view announcements, find self-help, submit a ticket, jump to a section based on your role. We have already posted both session 1 and session 2 webinars, as well as under the webinar category on the support site. We also link to the slides, so you can download a PDF of the presentation. All that to say, we're here to support you through Moodle and the TML.
So our session today is going to be all about different types of interactive engagement activities that you have access to both in Moodle and how you can utilize the TML in order to share content with your students that you maybe don't have on Moodle. We're going to start off talking about Moodle activities.
Okay, as a quick recap on how to access your Moodle site, well, there is some variation in web addresses. It generally falls under the same pattern, local number.iuentf.training. If you do not know how to access your Moodle site, let us know in the chat and we'll send you a follow-up email with a link to the site and your username. We can also reset your password if needed. As previously mentioned, today's session covers the activities and resources available for a course in Moodle. A course is commonly built with a combination of activities and resources. Resources are things like PDFs, multimedia presentations. These things deliver instructional content, and activities like a quiz that measures student mastery of the instructional content. So let's dig into these further. A resource in Moodle is an item that can be added to a Moodle course to support learning, such as a file, video, link. A resource differs in an activity is that it's static. The information is passing one way. A student can look at it or read it rather than participate. An activity in Moodle is a feature where students learn by interacting with each other or with the instructor or teacher. They might contribute in a discussion, which is called a forum, upload an assignment, answer questions on a quiz, or collaborate via a wiki. Activities can be graded while resources are not. Today, we will focus on the top 5 from each category, and we'll give some honorable mentions to some others. Here are the top 5 resources that we will overview: file, folder, page, text and media area, and URL. First up is files. Files like PDFs, PowerPoint, Word doc, Excel spreadsheets. These deliver your instructional content. Depending on the file type, it may display within the course or may download to the student's device, as some apps are required to read the file. For instance, PowerPoints, Word docs, Excel spreadsheets, those need those programs in order to open. So those will download to the end user's device, while PDFs can be rendered or viewed in the browser. So those can be displayed as well as downloaded. Images can display in a course, but you do have some control over how it displays. And we'll go into that a little bit later, where towards the end, I will show you how to add files. There's a couple different options. Next up is a folder. A folder enables you to display a number of related files inside of a folder, which reduces scrolling on that course page. A zip folder may also be uploaded and unzipped for display, or an empty folder can be created and files uploaded into it. In Moodle, a folder can only be used for a gathering of for displaying files. So you can't put a quiz in a folder. Where Blackboard, if some of you remember Blackboard folders, were used in a slightly different way. Next is a page. A page can display text, images, sound, video, links. A page is a Word doc alternative. If a file needs to be updated often, a page might be easier to maintain than an offline Word document where you would edit it offline, then upload it back into the course. A page, you just go into the course, click edit mode, edit the page, and then there's no upload. So while a Word doc downloads to the user's device, a page will display within the course. So if a student doesn't need to keep or fill out a file, consider adding it as a page. You could select the content of a Word document and then just paste it right onto a page. It does have a text editor, so you can still stylize that page. It's not like a pure text file. You still have the menu and formatting of a Word document. But for large amounts of content, maybe a page isn't going to be the best. In that aspect, maybe you want to use a different activity, something like book, which would display the content in more of a book format for large pieces. Next is text and media area, and this enables you to display text and multimedia directly on the course page. As part of the course page, there is no icon to click on. You can use the text and media area to add a short description to a course section, to split up a long list of course activities with a subheading or maybe an image, or to display an embedded video directly on the course page. Note that excessive use of multimedia like videos or sound clips in the text and media areas may slow down the course loading. And finally, in the resources section is URL, and a URL is a link to somewhere on the internet. You may notice that multimedia presentations in the courses that we've already added to your Moodle site are URL resources. They'll have the little link icon instead of a file. And that's because we keep them in the cloud, accessible by URL. There are a number of display options for the URL. You can embed it or open it in a new window. URLs can also be added to any other resource or activity type through the text editor. So you could add a URL through the text and media resource. Since external forces may control the content on sites that you link to, it is important to check the links at the start of a class or session. YouTube videos are quite commonly taken down or set to private, and those will result in a broken link. Now, a couple honorable mentions for resources. A book is a way is a multi-page resource displayed in a book-like format. It can have chapters and subchapters. Books can contain media files, such as text and images. And they're useful for displaying lengthy passages of information, which can be broken down into sections. Next is IMS content package. You would know if you had this kind of file. It's not easily read just on your device. It is a package that you would have to upload into an LMS like Moodle, and then it is rendered there. So an IMS content package is a collection of files which are packaged according to an agreed standard that they can be reused in different systems. It is something that you would maybe get from a publisher if you purchase their content. It's similar to a SCORM package, but an IMS content package cannot be graded. That's a big difference. Next are activities, and these are the 5 activities that we will overview. There are many more activities, and at the end, we will give you a handout of a quick guide to look at all of the activities and resources available in Moodle. But we're going to talk about assignment, certificate, feedback form, and quiz. An assignment is a graded activity in which students may submit a file or type text directly into the text editor. To satisfy completion requirements, an assignment may require manual grading, or maybe to complete the assignment is just to submit something. You have some control over that. When reviewing assignments, you can leave feedback, comments, you can upload files such as marked up student submissions, documents, or even speak and record your own voice. And then final grades are recorded in the grade book. Who doesn't love a pat on the back at the end of an achievement? You can give your students a digital indicator of a job well done with a certificate. A custom certificate activity allows for the dynamic generation of PDF certificates. And these can be viewed online or downloaded to the device of the student. The certificate activity can also email a copy of the certificate to the designated teacher or to a different email address. So if you wanted to be notified every time a certificate is earned in one or more courses, you can enter your email address, or I would recommend creating an email account just to receive those, so your email address doesn't get bogged down. That functionality is there if that's something that you're interested in. You can also design your own certificate, or if you don't want to, we have plenty of previously designed certificates we've used for other programs or courses. Or if you have a design in mind, let us know and we can create one with you and help you set it up. Feedback. So you want to know, what did your students think about the course? The feedback is a survey, but there is also a tool called a survey. I do not recommend that one. That one comes with the LMS, and it's just not as robust as a feedback survey in the type of questions you can answer. So the feedback activity enables you to create a custom survey for collecting feedback from students using a variety of different question types, including multiple choice, yes, no, or even text input. It is not graded like an assignment or quiz. Feedback responses may be anonymous if desired, or not anonymous. The results may be shown to all participants or maybe just restricted to the teachers only. You can also export the results, so you can open it in something like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. A forum is a discussion. So it enables participants to have discussions which take place over an extended period of time. There are several types of forums to choose from. You can have a standard forum where anyone can start a new discussion at any time, a forum where a student can post exactly one discussion, or maybe a Q&A forum where students first must post a question and then to be able to view other posts by other students. So if you're trying to get them to come up with a unique question or a unique thought, you could use a Q&A discussion type. And a teacher can allow files to be attached to forum posts or not. You can even control word count. Participants can subscribe to a forum or to receive notifications of new forum posts. You can force that subscription or you can make it optional. You can also set it to auto, which means that by default they would be subscribed, but then they would have the option to unsubscribe. If required, students can be blocked from posting more than a given number of posts within a given time period, so someone doesn't manipulate or occupy the bulk of a conversation. And then forums can be graded or not. It's up to you. A quiz. A quiz is a graded assessment comprising of different types of questions, include multiple choice, matching, short answer, numerical. A teacher can allow the quiz to be set to multiple attempts, one attempt only. You can have the question shuffled or randomly selected from a question bank. And then doing that, the more questions in a question bank, the greater the chance no two students will have the exact same quiz, which can decrease the chances of cheating. A time limit may be set, or you may give them all the time in the world. Other settings identify when and if hints, feedback, or correct answers are shown to students. Depending on the question types, each attempt can be graded automatically. Multiple choice, true, false, multiple select, matching. These are automatic grading questions. Other question types like short answer or essay may require manual grading. If it's short answer and it doesn't exactly match what you entered as the correct answer, it may mark the student as wrong and they may reach back out to you and say, I was marked wrong. But just know that those questions oftentimes require manual grading. So if you do not want to do any manual grading on your quiz, stick with those question types that are automatically graded. Some honorable mentions for activities is attendance. In the attendance activity, you can take attendance for face-to-face or blended classes. Participation points may be given in the activity. So if you have everyone coming to your local and meeting for a class, you can literally take online attendance for in-person. Database, a very underused activity type, but very powerful. And you can think of it as an in-course TML. A database enables participants to create, maintain, and search for a collection of entries. One way a local has used this activity is to create a database of different equipment manuals. So based on the manufacturer and the type of equipment. And why they wanted this is they came to us and said, a member can get a call in the morning and say, you need to go operate this specific machine, this version of that machine, go off and do it. And they said they wanted a quick way for a member to log into this, just an informational course. It's not a course that anyone's graded on. They can type in the manufacturer or use the filter and get the operator's manual so they can quickly look at the control panel and just get up to speed while they're on their way to the job. So something like that. And I would never have imagined to use it like that. The local came with an idea, we worked on it together, and we came up with database. So if you have an idea like this or something else, or something that we may even not have heard of, submit a ticket and maybe we can help find something that suits your needs. So out of all those activities and resources, if you didn't see what you needed and or you have an idea and you don't know how to implement it, there might be a plugin. Moodle is an open source LMS, meaning there's developers all over the world contributing to the functionality and success of this learning management system. So even things like the attendance, which activity, which I just mentioned on the previous slide, that's a plugin. Someone wanted to take at a local, wanted to take in-person attendance. We went out, we searched for that plugin, we made sure it was compatible with our system, and we installed it, and we installed it across the board. So if you have an idea for functionality, maybe another local also has that idea. So, and then most recently in session 1, there was a request for multi-factor authentication. So this is not something that comes with Moodle. So we had to look at the plugins available and we determined one to be safe and installed it for that local. So if you would also like multi-factor authentication, and what that is when someone logs into your Moodle site, they will get an email with a code. They then go back to the Moodle site, enter that code, and then are able to log in and participate with the site as they normally would. Hey, while all roles can interact with activities and resources, only the roles managers and teachers can create them within a course. Before we switch to Moodle, and I can show you how to add these, do we have any questions so far? Just utilize the chat if a question does pop up and we will answer it. Now let's pop over to Moodle and see how to add these. Okay, we're just going to use the forklift operator training. course, and I am logged in as a teacher, so this is exactly what a teacher role would see. Within any course, before you do anything, you have to turn on edit mode. And that's at the top right. Now you can interact with the course as far as building and editing it. And to add an activity or resource, it's really easy to find the button to do that because it is called add an activity or resource. And you can add it anywhere. So if I click add an activity or resource here, it would add it to session 1, or here would add it to session 2. By clicking the button, you are then presented with all activities and resources. You can toggle between these two to then isolate whether it's a resource or an activity. So if I wanted to add a file, I could click resources or get to it from the all as well. And I can click here, and then it will pull up a dialog box with which I would then find it on my computer and navigate and upload it that way. That takes too long. So one really nice thing about Moodle is the ability to drag and drop files and pieces of content for automatic upload right into Moodle. So I have some files here, and I'm just going to select them all and maybe go down to session here at the bottom. And then I select and just drag and drop right on screen. Now you may get some questions asked, and it's going to ask you some questions if you're uploading an image or a video. So it gives you the option here with this video. It's an MP4, that's how I know it's a video. I can either add the video directly to the course page, or I can create a file resource, which means that they would have to click it and then view the video. So let's see what it looks like just adding it to the course page. Now I have an image. Now here, instead of adding it to the course page, let's create a file resource so we can see the difference. Depending on the file size of the file that you're uploading, it may take a few minutes. This PowerPoint was a little bit bigger than the other files, so it's taking just a little bit longer. So here, our Excel file. That's the file name. If I did not want that as the file name, I can click the pencil icon and change it right here. Now here we prompted to show the video directly on the course page.
The International Union of Operating Engineers.
So student can click the play button and then view the video. A Word document, PDF. Now here we prompted Moodle to create a file link to the resource. So instead of displaying that photo directly on the course page, it creates a link. You click the link, then the photo is displayed. So if you have a really large photo or one of a lot of detail, maybe a load chart diagram, maybe you do want it to open, maybe not on that course page itself because it is restricted in width. You want to make it a file resource. And then finally a PowerPoint. So I can click Word and you notice it will not display. And again, that's because things like Word documents, Excel, and PowerPoints will download to the device because it needs the app to open it. However, things like PDFs will render within the course. Okay, and that is how to add files directly to the course page. Now, with the PDF, because you can display it within the course, you do have a few options on how it displays. You will also get these appearance settings for a Word document, a PowerPoint, and an Excel file. But no matter what you choose, it's going to just download to your device. So you can choose embed, open, or pop up, but it will still just download. But with this PDF, we can force it to be downloaded. So if we have a lot of other content, maybe we want to keep it consistent and just download everything to the person's device. Or we can just open it, which will open it in frame or in a pop-up. And if you are taking a course that we built, we generally put it in a pop-up. That way you're not restricted by Moodle's stage size. It will just pop up in a new window. The user can expand and move the window size around, and they then also have the ability to print right from there or download it. So if you do choose in a pop-up, you can also have control over the width and height of the pop-up. But all pop-ups, you can drag the bottom corner to resize. So if you do have a small size here, like a 620 by 450, the end user doesn't have to stick to that size. To add any other kind of activity or resource, then you would definitely go through this way. With files, we can do that drag and drop. Otherwise, we would use this interface to then select, and it will add it to the course page where we can then further clarify the different settings. If you know that you're going to be using an activity or resource a lot, you can star it. That way you can get to it really quickly. So if you think assignments and attendance, that's really the two activities that you're going to be using, star them, and then you get another option so you can go directly to it. If you would like more information, and this information is going to be coming from the LMS itself, Moodle, you can click I, and then it will give you a little brief description as well as a link to then go to Moodle's website to go in depth even more. Does anyone have any questions about the different resources, activities, or adding them? We will have an upcoming webinar just about adding quizzes, as there are a lot of settings and considerations to take in when adding a quiz. Okay, you will also have an opportunity at the very end to ask a question should one arise as well.
All right. Say you are utilizing one of our courses that we've built, or a course that's already in your Moodle. And I'm just going to use forklift as an example as well, since we were already there. If you look inside of the instructor notes and you're reading through these before class, and maybe you see that there are additional resources in the TML system. And let's say those are additional resources that are found in Moodle that you would like to share with your class. In order to do that, there is a way to share information inside of the TML to your students. So like we've talked about before, you would access the TML on iuoe.org, logging in, going to training, and then you will find the training management library site. So in here you have all of these different options to view the library or access the dashboard. In order to share something that's already there, you would access the library and find the course that you're looking for. So you can do that using all of these different options for searching the TML. If you know the name of the collection, the search tool is probably going to be your easiest bet. If you don't know the name, maybe a category would help, because that can narrow down your searches as well. I'm going to walk you through this in just a moment, but just to kind of remind ourselves about what it looks like. When you open up a collection, you'll see that description of it. The contents are all going to be listed at the bottom, and then you have the option to download or share at the top. So let's look at what this looks like inside of the training management library. So if we come to iuoe.org, I've already signed in, so I see this training management library. And when I click into that, let me make this a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so I'll go into the library. Now we have created a collection that we're going to share with you today. If you have access to the TML, you'll be able to access it there as well. But we have our Moodle and TML. I searched it, and here is the collection that we're going to take a look at today. So when I open this up, I can see in here what it is we're looking at. We're looking at the sharing files. It goes along with this session of our webinar series, and a live tech is the person or the author that has added it to the TML. Below that, you can see we have 2 documents as well as a link to another channel. Okay, if I want to just take a look at them before I share, we have this little magnifying glass that'll give me a preview of the documents. So I can open this up, and these little images should look familiar to you because these are the Moodle activities that Cassandra just finished talking about. So at the end of this session, you'll have this document that you can refer back to as well, and it breaks down all of those pieces on how you can utilize them. So we have this document that I would like to share with the participants today. Also in here, I've included something called instructor resource. If I open the preview for this, we can see that this is just for the teacher or the instructor, and it should not be shared with students. This represents those documents you wouldn't want to share inside of a collection. Those could be answer pages, answer keys for the assignments, test questions if you don't want to pass those out before the actual test, things like that that may be in the TML that you don't necessarily want to share with your class. Okay. So these are the documents we have. There's 3 of them. And of the 3 things, I would like to share with you the Moodle activity and the link to our YouTube channel. So at the top, we have this button that says share. And when I click on it, it gives me all these options. Okay, so I see that it tells me to input the emails I would like to share with, provide a message, and I can choose the date. So starting with emails, I would just type in all of the emails that I need to include. And after each email, I'm just going to put a comma, and that's going to allow me to add everyone at one time. For the sake of time, I'm adding all of you at once. And when I click on this button, add, it'll include everyone that I just included as the email. In my message, I would just say, hello. These are the resources from today's webinar. Okay, and you can type out a message that you would like to share with the students in your class about these resources or what you want them to do with it. That will pop up inside of the email that you send to them. The great thing about this sharing aspect is that I can choose how long that person gets access to these files. So, for example, I will provide access to all of you until Friday. So in the email that it sends to the students, it will tell them you have access until this date. And then after then, the link will no longer work. Below that, there are the resources. We had already talked about including our activity and resource options document and the link. So we see documents and the links. I am going to leave out the instructor resource because again, I don't want to share that with the students in the class. In this case, it's with the participants of the webinar. That's something that's just for you as the instructor to see. So I would leave that piece off. Once I have filled out all of these areas of this share pop-up, I would click on share and notify. So I'm going to go ahead and share and notify you all that you are receiving this. There we go. And it tells me that it's been sent off to you. So you all will get this. I just got it myself. So you should be receiving an email to the email you used to register today. Now, once your student, or once you have sent this to your student, they will receive an email that says contact us, shared collection, and it'll include the information that you put into that document. So you can see here that it tells you here are the resources from the webinar, and it gives you that link that they can now click. It also will tell them the date that that link expires. So after that link, or after that date, the link will no longer take them to the shared place. And so they would have to request it again if you wanted them to see it. Once they've opened it, this is what they're going to see. It looks exactly like the page we were just on, except if you look down here, it no longer includes that instructor guide that you did not share. So they'll be able to see everything you asked for them to be able to see, and anything you did not include would be hidden from them. The great thing about this is that it allows anyone to access this that has that link. So there wouldn't be a login necessary in order for them to see these resources, which is great because the TML is really for instructors. So the student shouldn't have access to the TML in its entirety anyways. They'll have access to just what you ask for them to see. Are there any questions about how to share? If you have questions, feel free to put them in there. But that is how you would share documents from the TML with the students inside of your class. Now, let's say instead of just sharing with your class, you want to add content to the TML system to share with other instructors, right? So it's also a way to give other people information. If you wanted to add a collection, you would access that again by going up to training and going to our training management library here. From this point, down here where you would add your own content would be called the dashboard. Okay, this is where you can access the dashboard and it'll show any collections that you have uploaded and whether or not they are approved, rejected, or inactive. So let's say we want to make that collection I just showed you. How did I do that? Well, from this page, we can go up here to create new collection. And when we open it, it provides us with all of these different pieces. Okay, so we can go through and type in what we want it to be called. To be consistent, Moodle and TML resources. Okay, and then you can write in your collection description here. Resources. Okay. When it comes time to start adding your collections, it has that drag and drop feature, or you can choose a file. So whichever way you prefer to update your or to add your resources, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop. So here are my resources here. These are those two activities I have. I will highlight both of them and I will drag them to that collections file spot to add them. Now, to make it easier for people to find, adding tags would be really helpful. These are going to be keywords that you can use to that people may search. So for example, people may search the word Moodle. I would add Moodle. Maybe they're going to type in the word TML. So I'm going to add that. Maybe webinar, because that's what these came from, was the webinar. Okay, activities, maybe Moodle activities, different words that resonate with the content that is inside of this collection. Okay, if you're looking at a collection on tower cranes, having words that relate to tower cranes would be helpful, right? Tower crane, mast, I should know more. Derek, all of those, right? We have all these different words that we could use. Hydraulics, maybe they want to see one piece that could relate to multiple different collections. Adding in those words will help someone filter what it is that they're looking at and which collections will show up. Category. Under category, you have different options depending on what you need to add it to. So if it is a course that has to do with hoisting and portable, you can click on hoisting and portable. What's really nice though is hoisting and portable and stationary are actually broken down even more in detail. And we can see that because of the little plus signs. If you click on the plus sign, it'll open up all of the different types of hoisting and portable groups and categories that are already made. So we can see that there's for iTech, and then several locals have their own. Under local 3, we can see that they have their own little crane section, several different options, right? If we want to close those, we can just click on the minus sign and they will go away. We can click the plus to open up stationary as well. So we can see that there's different places we can put content in. Okay. I'm going to click other because this doesn't have to do with either of those two things. So I'm going to use other as my category for this. The last piece that I'm missing is an image, which we can just browse for an image and add one in. I have one on my desktop that I used for this today, and it's this one. And I just dropped it in there as well, the same way we did the other, and we can see it there. Once you think everything is in the way you want it, you can go ahead and preview it prior to sending it, just to see what it would look like once it is approved. Make sure everything is the way you want it to be. So I see my images up there. Okay. We have different activities. Here we go. We see these are our documents. Oh, I did not include the link. If I wanted to go back and include the link, we just click on this edit button at the top. If I click on edit, it takes me right back to this page and I can add that link in here. Okay, so when you add that link, you'll have to include, I'm just going to include this page just for now. Once we add that, you would want to give it a name and then you can add it. Okay, once you've had a chance to do that, you've previewed and you're ready to submit it, you can click on the submit button. And when you've done that, it'll ask, are you sure you want to submit this for approval? I'm going to say yes. Now, these do have to get approved. There are approvers for hoisting and portable and stationary, so it would go to them for review before it gets posted. So if you go and you add this, you'll see it under request, and you will wait for it to be actually available in the TML. It won't be instantaneously available to everyone else. When you add it, you'll be the only person that can see it until it is approved. Once it is approved, you will see it underneath your approved line. Okay, if it gets rejected for some reason, If I was to reject it, it would pop up as rejected inside of that page we were just on here. And that's how you add a new collection to the TML system to share those resources with other instructors. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.